Welcome back. Now we're on derivative of inverse trigonometric functions. Derivative of inverse trigonometric functions. Now, example, we have y equals to sine inverse of x, cos inverse of x, tan inverse of x, sec inverse of x, cosec inverse of x, and cot inverse of x. So I'll be solving the one on black marker while you will be the one to solve the one on red. It's very, very simple. I'll solve one, you solve one. You know the way we used to do it now. Solve one, you solve one, I'll solve one, you solve one till we end it. Now, solution. Question 1 says y equals to sine inverse of x. Very, very simple. Just listen. The way I solve number 1 is the way you'll be able to solve number 2. Now, how do I go about it? You know, anything raised to power minus, another way to write it is what? 1 over. Anything raised to power minus, another way to write it is 1 over. So I can write this guy and say y equals to. Now, is this sign that is the one having the raised to power minus, right? So I can say 1 over sine. But what do I have? Multiply by x. The x is not coming down with the sign. Sure, you understand? It's only the sign that is having the raised to power minus. So that's why I'm saying 1 over. Then the x is still up. Multiply by x. So what do we have? We'll be having y equals to x times 1 will give us what? X over sine. Right? X over sine. What do we now do? You cross multiply. You cross multiply. When you cross multiply, what are we going to be having? We'll be having x equals to sine y. You'll be having, you know, when you cross multiply, x equals to what? Sine y. Now, what do? Let's differentiate this guy. Now, I'm differentiating x in respect to what? Y. So, what do I call it? I'll call it dx dy. I'm differentiating x in respect to y. So, I'll call it what? Dx dy. Now, when I differentiate sine y, what do I have? I have cos y. When I differentiate sine y, I have what? Cos y, right? Sure, you understand? Now, what do I do? The next thing is what? Let me take the y up and take the x up. If I take the y up and take the x down, what will happen? This one is like over 1, right? The 1 will go up, cos y will come down. Sure, you get? What you do on the left hand side is what you must do on the right hand side. If I'm taking the y up, the x will come down. It means what? 1 will go up, cos y will come down. Now, let's go. We'll be having dy over dx equals to, you know, it's just like over 1. So 1 will go up. That will be 1 over cos y, right? That will be 1 over cos y. So what do? Let's call this equation 1. Let's call it equation 1. Now let's go further. After you've gotten equation 1, then you recall. You recall that, don't forget, I gave you something. I said sine square x, abi? Sine, but yeah, we are using it as y. So let's call it sine square y plus cos square y is equals to 1, right? You know, in the first video I said sine square x plus cos square x is equals to what? 1. That those 3 trigonometric identities. But here we are using it as y because it is related to y. So sine square y plus cos square y is equals to what? 1. So what do I need? I need to make cos y the same formula. So let's make cos square y the same formula. If we make cos square y the same formula here, what are we going to have? We have cos square y. Cos square y is equals to sine square y will go here. It will go to the other side. So here we're having 1. So when sine square y goes to the other side, what do we have? That will be minus sine square y. But we need cos y, not cos square y, right? We need cos y, not cos square y. So what do we have to do to eliminate this square? We have to square root both sides, right? So when you square root both sides, that will be cos y equals to square root of what? 1 minus sine square y. Sure you get? Let's call this equation 2. Now you now say put equation 2 into, put equation 2 into equation 1. So let's put equation 2 into equation 1. So what do we have? We'll be having dy over dx equals to, now what do we have? Instead of saying cos y, we are going to say square root of 1 minus sine square y. So what do we have? We'll be having 1 over, so instead of cos y, we'll say square root of 1 minus sine square y, right? Sure you understand? Now, okay, sorry, let's call this equation 1. Let's call this equation 2. Let's call this equation 3. Let's call this equation 3. Now, you now recall. Let's recall. Recall from equation 1. What do we say? Recall that what? X is equals to sine y. Right? From equation 1, recall that x is equals to what? Sine y. So meaning that what? If we have s square, meaning that s square will be equals to what? Sine square y, right? Don't forget. X square will now be equals to sine y times sine y will give us what? Don't forget it is sine square y. So meaning that, let's come back to this place. Therefore, dy over dx will now be equals to, now that will be 1 over square root of 1 minus, so instead of saying sine square y, what do we now call it? 1 minus s square. So you see that, don't forget from the first video about the formulas I gave you, when you differentiate, sine inverse of x is what? Sine inverse of x is 1 over square root of what? 1 minus s square. Very, very simple. As simple as that. So try number 2. Try question 2. Y equals to cos inverse of x. You know what your answer will be now? Your answer will be what? Minus 1 over square root of 1 minus x squared. So please, you can just look at it. If you don't understand, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.